No, but you are, like, you've done so much work over the past years.
Well, come on. Mucho gusto.
Which was,
And Gao Xing Zhen Dao Ni.
oh yeah,
Do you know what that is?
no, I don't.
Same thing. Nice to meet you.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Lin
lovely.
taught me that in Chinese. Lin Tang.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing, we're learning so much today.
Nice to be here. Great to be here.
Oh,
Thanks.
so this is a new project we have for a YouTube channel. We would
Uh-huh.
love to interview artists and directors and writers and actors such as yourself. So we'll get to Senior Honorage, which you worked with Arlene Tang, producer, but
Thank you.
I noticed that despite directing, you have quite the trajectory as an actor.
Yes.
So,
Started as an actor.
so is that something like you wanted to do? Did you want to do directing initially? Did you want to do everything at once?
No, I started as an actor, and because I had studied acting, I was in the high school plays, and then I went to Rutgers, and I was in the plays at Rutgers, and Union College too, my junior college. So I started as an actor. I didn't know that I'd be directing. That just sort of evolved naturally and came about, and writing too. I just sort of started to do it, and it wasn't really planned, it just happened.
Yeah.
It was a happy accident.
Yeah. Can you tell us about your time in the theater before you started working in Hollywood?
Yeah, so I graduated from Rutgers, which was about 45 minutes south of New York City, along the train line, and I had one teacher, gosh, I'm gonna forget his name, he was the mayor in Ghostbusters. God, if only I could remember his name, God, I'm forgetting his name. But he was directing on Broadway, and he did the comedians on Broadway. And he said to me, Brian, what are you doing after college? And I said, geez, David Margulies, that's his name, great actor, character actor, David Margulies. And David said to me, Brian, you should go to New York, you can do it. I was like, oh, I thought, gosh, if David Margulies says that, I'm going to New York. And then the next day or so, I didn't even go to my college graduation. I was waiting tables in a restaurant in New York, and I just started doing theater and doing everything I could without a plan.
Oh wow.
Who can plan?
Yeah.
We plan and God laughs, as they say, or the best laid plans of mice and men oftentimes go asunder. Let's not get too complicated here.
Oh wow.
What's your next question? By the way,
Yeah.
full disclosure, can we tell them?
Yeah.
I have the list of questions ahead of time. It's sort of like you're throwing me softballs here.
Yeah.
Just like a political commentator, right?
Yeah.
You're not giving me any hard questions.
No. We
Unless there
got
are
easy.
some surprises on
We're gonna
there.
get the ball rolling in a little bit. Okay,
Okay,
we're
go
gonna
ahead.
start easy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from then, so New York's the place to be if you want to be a theater actor, right?
Yes.
But now you're in Hollywood. So when did you make the transition, and what made you want to do that?
Weather.
Whether.
Yeah, I would watch the Rose Bowl parade and everybody out in California in their t-shirts and, having fun in the sun in January and February. New York is sort of nice right through Christmas and the holidays and New Year's. And then January and February and March in New York can be very rainy and cold and snowy and dull. So I used to come out sometimes just for a month or two, just to get away from New York. And I kind of fell in love with the weather. And a lot of actors migrated this direction. And then after my parents passed away, I said, okay, I can come out here. Now my obligations and my duty is done. So I just came out. It wasn't just weather, it was just, I wanted to travel, wanted to move, do something different.
Did you not have an agent yet over here? Did you just,
That's an
just get a
interesting story.
one-way flight or what?
That's an interesting story. I'll tell you my agent story. Because my commercial agents are CESD, they're one of the biggies. And I came out here on a trip. And I wound up signing with CESD. They were CED at the time. And then I was running around, and Peter Allen was doing a show at the Pantages. That's another story. Do you remember Peter Allen?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
Iconic too, like.
Yes, he was. In fact, I've been told I look a little bit like Peter Allen. I met him, anyway, he was doing a show, and someone that I was in a relationship with was in that show too. And then it was supposed to go to San Francisco, got canceled. That's an interesting story why it got canceled. And then I wound up signing with CESD, just on this short trip. And then I went back to New York, and then the office from LA called me and said, Brian, you just booked a commercial in LA, and they're flying you back. And that's how I went with my first agencies. I had a theatrical agent in New York who passed away, God rest his soul, Michael Hardig. It was a boutique agency. He handled a lot of stars and me. He got me onto my first Law and Orders and things like that. And then I did find representation out here. Now I'm with a manager named Sandy Joseph, SLJ Management, and I met her through Doris Roberts. She represented Doris Roberts Do you remember Doris on Everybody Loves Raymond?
Oh, wow.
She's the older woman, and she also passed away, God rest her soul. But anyway, I'm hogging all these questions.
No, it's good. It's
Okay,
good.
good.
Are you allowed to say why it got canceled, or is it like a long story?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, this is a little sensitive, you may have to edit. Is this live?
I mean, it is live. Are you okay?
All right, well, I'll say it anyway.
Okay.
It's not very politically correct,
Okay.
but I'll tell you, it's a great story. By the way, another Aussie, because I told you, we're senior entourage, thank you, Lynn Tang, we just found a sales agent in Australia,
Yeah.
because Helen Reddy is one of the most famous singers ever to come out of Australia, but also Peter Allen was one of the most famous singer-songwriters. I believe he's an Oscar winner, you know, if you get lost between the Arthur song, if you get lost between the moon and New York City. Anyway, Peter was gay, okay? And everybody knew it, and he had gay life, but he did marry Liza Minnelli, whatever, that's another story.
Yeah.
And, but I guess in those days, you know, I forget how old he was, but he never came out till the very end of his life, and he died of AIDS. But this is sort of like reverse racism, whatever. People were persecuted and whatever for being gay for a long time. Anyway, Peter was not coming out. And then the gay community in San Francisco were pressuring him to come out for good reasons, obvious reasons, and he would not. And then they canceled his show. He got canceled by his own gay community in San Francisco, and that show got canceled. I don't know if that's the official story, but that's the story I know. By the way, I saw him so many times on stage because my ex was the Rockette and danced with him, and he was fantastic. He would play for hours after concerts for us at parties. He was a great entertainer, and he would tell stories. He was a great entertainer. Anyway, before he died, he did come out, and he did die of AIDS, but he was a very talented man, and that was sort of, I don't even know if that story's known, but that's the truth as I know it. But, yeah, I'll probably be in trouble now with a lot of people.
No, I mean, that's what happened, right? You're just telling what happened, so.
Yeah, this is probably, I got married in 1983, so this probably happened 1980, no, but what a show, man.
Yeah.
By the way, one of the reasons CESD, Bill Cunningham was the owner that took me on, was I had all these comps to the Pantages, and I took the office down to see Peter Allen, and we were all like so excited and having so much fun, and anyway, they wound up signing me.
Oh, that's amazing. So your first commercial was during this time, right?
No, I had done commercials in New York.
New York,
Yeah, I had done 20 years of commercials in New York. My first one was in 1978. It was a Schlitz beer commercial, no longer is, and it shot in Boston. I was cast in New York. They were bringing out, there were guys playing football in Central Park. And I was so excited. I remember someone threw the ball up, right? And I just went flying. I was so jacked up and so excited that I went high in the air, I caught this thing, ran for a touchdown, and I got my first commercial.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. And we went to Boston.
That's cool. And then you started working out of LA at commercials, right?
Yes, that was many years later. Well, I told you, I came out on that trip and did the commercial.
Flew right back.
And then I started, since we're talking about commercials, can I introduce Joe Pitka?
Yeah, go ahead.
And he's sort of relevant in my life now too. Here's a guy, this is an illustration of Joe Pitka, right? Joe's, I guess, probably the top commercial director of all time. He's done more Super Bowl commercials than anybody. He's got Clio Awards and DGA Awards, Director Guild Awards. And it was a crazy relationship. He's a creative genius, he's a wild man.
Yeah.
And he did documentaries with the Beatles, Michael Jackson, Bob Dylan, you name it, he's worked like crazy. Also has a big hit movie called Space Jam, the animated film, which made hundreds of millions. And he also did Let It Ride. But his big impact was in the world of commercials and documentaries. And I did 20 commercials with him. And we would fight like crazy and yell and scream at each other. I never did that with anyone but him. But it was also a very fun, loving relationship.
Yeah.
And I just ran into him a few months ago on a bicycle, riding around in Venice.
Oh, so he lives here?
He lives here,
Stays here,
but
yeah.
he worked all over the world.
Yeah.
Worked all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Beyonce, you name it. He's the most popular, also the most exciting and funny, and he can move you to tears in a commercial. By the way, I've come to really respect that as, I don't wanna call it an art form, but people who can make you laugh like the chicken commercials, or make you cry in 30 or 60 seconds,
Yeah.
that is a real talent, and this man has an abundance of it. He's gonna be so mad if he sees this thing, which he probably
Yeah,
won't.
does he dress like this when you see him?
No, this is part of the illustration.
Yeah, this
We-
is his personality.
He's a
and, like,
basketball, this is kinda how we got to
Yeah.
like each other. I wasn't a big time basketball player, but I played in high school
Yeah.
and junior college, and Joe is like, he's like 6'6". He would bring basketball setups to the shoot, and he'd shoot basketball, and anyway, but no, he does not dress like that. But he still has crazy long hair like that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Enough
he's
about
got
Joe.
great hair.
Okay,
Great hair.
so,
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier too, your Foster Farms commercial. I remember watching it when I was a kid, and it's crazy. You were in a couple of those, right?
no, it's just in the one. Oh, no, they made two.
They made
But
two.
we made them the same day.
Okay.
We shot them at the Universal Light,
Yeah.
Universal Lot,
Yeah.
yeah. And they had a Hispanic actor, is that correct word to say now?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, they did a Spanish version,
Yeah.
and they did my version, we would just switch out and talk to the puppets. But that was an interesting story too, because I was from the East Coast,
Yeah.
and Foster Farms is only sold in California, Oregon, and Washington. I had never seen these commercials or heard of them. And I go in and I'm hearing about these puppets and putting on the glove I'm going,
Yeah.
wait a second, this is weird.
Yeah.
And this is never gonna happen, I'm thinking to myself,
They're not
right?
gonna let it air or anything.
I'm
yeah,
thinking that.
Yeah,
And then sure enough, I was completely surprised, they turned out to be very funny,
yeah.
and that thing was on for 5 years. And it really, really supported my life and supported all my other theatrical endeavors and things like that, and my movies too.
Yeah, it's really
So,
cool. Every time do you go to the grocery store, you're like, I was part of that.
people did recognize me
Yeah.
as the Foster Farms chicken guy,
Yeah.
yes, that was both good and bad, because there were a few times, there's another guy who I'll give a shout out to, Ray Dillman, lives in Santa Monica, he was a top commercial director too, I did a bunch of spots for him, and a couple times he called me at home and he goes, Brian, man, we love you, the client loves you, blah, blah, he says, but we're seeing that chicken commercial every 5 or 10 minutes on the local news, and
Yeah.
we just can't do it.
Mhm.
So, but anyway, Ray Dillman was a great director. I'm talking too much, right, Lynn Tang? But let's go. Yeah, okay, all right. So let's speed it up.
Oh, okay.
What are the other questions?
Okay, so let's talk about the senior entourage, okay?
Yes, let's talk about Lynn Tang and
Yeah,
Senior
yeah.
Entourage.
Shout out Lin Tang, okay?
How did I meet her?
How did you meet her? How did this film come about?
Okay, so Ed Asner and Mark Rydell were doing my play, Oxymorons, and Plays in the Park. And Lynn Tang happened to come to the audience, and I just met her, didn't really get to talk to her that day, but I think she liked Ed and Mark. And then she invited me to her opera, which was at the Kodak, and I thought that was very impressive, and it was really nice of her. And then somehow or another, I told you we were working with Ed Asner and Mark Rydell, and had this idea for Senior Entourage. And sure enough, Lynn Tang brought some people in, financiers, and she backed us, and I barely knew her at the time. And then, as you know, that's mockumentary and it's unscripted. And Lynn was very surprised when I stood her next to Mark Rydell and I put him in a scene together in conversation. It turned out to be very funny, as you
Yeah.
probably saw.
Yeah, I saw.
And Lynn was like, oh my God, I'm in this movie.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it was she did not pressure me or ask me, hey Brian, we helped you finance. There was none of that. She
Yeah.
gave us the money free and clear.
Yeah.
And then, we just shot like crazy. But then my editor and I would sit there and we'd see Lynn and we'd laugh. It was funny, it was clever. She's very, very supportive, to the projects. And also when have you been to one of her film festivals with all the people?
I'm working it.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I'm working it.
people from all over
Yeah,
the world,
very
all
international.
ages.
Yeah.
And then she opens up her home and feeds everybody.
Yeah.
And she's a nice lady and we want to keep working together. We've become very fond of each other.
Yeah, and like the cast is incredible, right?
Oh my
So-
goodness, a miracle.
Yeah, and it's like
A miracle.
she sings I Am Woman in it, right? Too.
What's that?
Reddy sings I Am Woman in it, right? Like,
Helen Reddy sings
Yeah.
I Am Woman, an iconic song.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know that.
Yeah.
Because that was one of in the 70s, that was the big hit song, and it was a big integral part of the women's movement. So yeah, that was, and then Jamie Lee Curtis, Academy, was singing. By the way, and I told you this earlier, and I'll say it again on camera, is that, with Senior Entourage, I didn't get what I wanted, but I love what I got.
Yeah.
it's a pure accident. Everything that happened, and it happened for a reason, because even that day, we were doing, you saw those little shots at Sundance? Me and Lockhart and a few people were up in Sundance.
Mhm.
And then David Lockhart's wife called him and said, hey, there's a women's march downtown LA. I wasn't even in town. But he said to me, can you get Helen ready to go? So I said, well, so I called Helen, was in a retirement home, and there was a guy named Al, a wonderful guy, and I said, hey, can you take Helen down to the women's march? I said, I'll pay you and pay Helen, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I said, but I can't be there, I'm up in Sundance.
Yeah.
So she goes down, and you just see, she's just dressed in like a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
She goes down, and then they invite her on stage in front of 750,000
Yeah.
people and make her like the headline of the show.
That's
That was an
incredible.
accident.
Yeah, wow, so it wasn't
That's an
actually, like, you
That
guys.
wasn't planned.
Oh, wow.
No, I just said, send her down, and then when she got down, they were like, oh my God, Helen Reddy's here, and they invited her on
That's
stage.
like
and
the most
it's-
exciting part of the film, too. So, yeah, it's
Many people feel that way,
Yeah.
and I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an accident.
That's
And
amazing.
another accident,
Yeah.
and I'll say this story, and I'm talking too much again, but we didn't know that Jamie Lee Curtis was gonna be singing that song with her, right? And then my sales agent said, hey, Brian, Jamie Lee Curtis is singing and talking.
Mhm.
We need a release from her, in other words, permission to use her. I'm going, ooh, So I asked Helen's driver, Al Bowen, I said, hey, can you ask Jamie Lee for a release? And I wrote, and this is unusual, a little trick to new filmmakers and young people.
Okay, you're
I wrote a one-sentence release, because if you send somebody a three-page release, they're gonna send it to their lawyers, or they're gonna send it to the agents, and it'll never get signed.
Yeah.
A one-sentence release, I, Jamie Lee Curtis, agreed to let you use my footage at the Women's March in Senior Entourage with Helen Reddy.
Mhm.
One sentence,
Mhm.
I still have it.
Mhm.
The next day she signed it, and we had it. And now
There you
she's an
go. Not
Academy
convincing
Award.
anyone.
Yeah, and hats off to her and thanks to her. Man, that was a real favor to have Jamie Lee Curtis in your movie,
Yeah.
The Sign.
I just saw her in Haunted Mansion. She was really lovely as Madame Leota.
She
So
is-
cute.
Yeah, she's a wonderful actress.
Yeah. So do you think, since you had so much fun on this set, if there's an opportunity sequel?
Absolutely. We are talking to people about senior trip movies to different countries around the world.
Yeah.
Lynn and I have had a lot of discussions about that,
Mhm.
and we want to do a senior trip in China,
Yeah.
Greece,
Mhm.
Italy.
Mhm.
Some of these countries, like Greece and other places, have really great tax credits, and we want to do bilingual movies, like some Mandarin English,
Yeah.
and then, so we want to use international stars, and we want to go in different places around the world. I do have some things that are scripted,
Mhm.
like we were talking about theater earlier,
Yeah.
Cross Your Heart. This is my autobiographical play.
Can you tell me that's you?
That's
yeah.
me. I think I'm about 5 years old in that picture.
Mhm.
But yeah, I want to do that. That was a play, and it was also done in Newport Beach a
Mhm.
couple of years ago. And I also have a screenplay of it. So I like scripted material,
Mhm.
but I'm so pleased with the way Senior Entourage turned
Yeah.
out. And it gives you the ability to use, like Lynn was not an actress,
Yeah.
but she comes off so well and so funny and so charming in Senior Entourage. But the idea of using stars
Yeah.
and real people,
Yeah.
it appeals to me.
Yeah, because it's really special because there's like veteran actors in it, and usually they're not cast in leads anymore. You have so many of them together, right? It's a
Pure
special
accident.
film. Yeah.
I knew Mark Rydell from the Actors Studio. Mark Rydell is the Oscar-nominated director of On Golden Pond and many classic movies. I knew Mark, and then Mark said, hey, call Ed Asner. And then Ed Asner said, let's call Marion Ross.
Yeah.
And then Helen Reddy and Mark Rydell were in the retirement home together. And I knew Charlie Robinson from the Actors Studio. So it was all just a happy accident and
Yeah.
a miracle that we got together.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So now that you've done so much, you did theater, you did directing, you've done writing for everything, right? Is there anything that you still have yet to do that you want to do?
Yes, I want to make the senior trip movies.
Yeah.
I'd like to travel the world doing it,
Mm-hmm.
not to be too corny or whatever, but it's like Lin Tang's film festivals, the multicultural film. When you go somewhere and you see people from all over the world speaking so many languages and all ages, it brings people together. There's always been war, and there's plenty of war going on right now. I won't get into that. But if people work together and do a project together, eat the local foods, learn a few phrases, mucho
Yeah.
gusto, hemdaoshing, you know,
Yeah.
if you work together and the other stuff sort of goes away,
Yeah.
you know? It doesn't go away everywhere, but it goes away inside me.
Mhm.
You know, I see people as people
Mhm.
and as collaborators
Mhm.
and as friends,
Mhm.
not enemies, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanna do unscripted projects,
Yeah.
senior trip projects.
Mhm.
I shouldn't be talking about this, but a senior secret project with Joe Pitka.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about it, he'll be mad if he sees this and
Okay,
hears me talking
exclusive.
about it. And then the other thing I wanna do is senior secret agent. Don't steal my deal out there, please. Senior secret agent, that could be so funny.
That
A
could be.
secret agent going around the
Yeah.
world and nobody gets killed.
No one would look. Yeah, no one just, yeah.
Nobody gets killed.
Yeah.
They only fight with water guns,
Wow.
water pistols.
I don't think anyone's had that one before, so,
No,
yeah.
so comedy brings people
Comedy,
together.
yeah, comedy, okay.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I do wanna ask you if you have any advice for young filmmakers, anything you've learned maybe the hard way that, someone can pick up, whether they're actors, writers, producers.
Run for the hills.
Run for the hills.
No.
There you go,
I'm
kids.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm so grateful that I made my living as an actor.
Yeah.
You know, things are changing quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it's a new world for you and your generation. Now, if I'm going into an Apple store and I wanna buy a Apple iPhone 15,
Yeah.
do I go to a guy my age and, no, I find someone your age and go, hey, can you show me how to use this app or do this? So now, I'd say definitely study,
Mhm.
find good teachers and study, gotta get good pictures.
Yeah.
But also, young people like yourselves, you can practically, forget it, you can make a movie on an iPhone now, you know? So do your own thing, be bold, be different,
Mhm.
you know? Collaborate with your classmates or an old guy like myself and make your first, demo reel, make your first movie on an iPhone
Yeah.
and stick with it, you know? But I recommend becoming a doctor or a lawyer. I'm kidding.
Everyone here's like, oh gosh, okay.
Well, it's like that song by, what's his name? Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. Who's that? Who sings that song? Oh God, why can't I think of his name?
Yeah, but same principle, right?
Yes.
Oh goodness. Okay. Well, it was so lovely to have you here.
Nice to be with you too.
Thank you. It was like amazing to hear someone who has so much experience, and a lot of us are here first timers, working on projects. So hopefully we have you back. And
Can't wait to be, I'll try not to talk so much next
no,
time.
it was amazing. We
Thank
love
you,
having
Lin
here.
Tang and May Goldie
Yeah.
and
no,
young boys over there.
Yeah, and everyone watching,
And,
Maya. So
Muchas gracias.
muchas gracias.
谢谢.
Happy Chinese New Year is coming up. Happy
新年快乐.
Yeah. So
新年快乐.
Shinyan Kuaila.
That's good.
Yeah, we're practicing.
Bye
All
bye,
right,
everybody.
Thank you.
God, I talk too much.
No, you didn't. Thank you so much. Like